Hello and welcome to Elections 101 in 5, brought to you by Yaga Africa and supported by the UNDP. Elections 101 in 5. What are the steps for setting up the polling units on election day? That's our focus for today. We asked on the streets. Here are the responses that we got.
We believe that the INEC is supposed to do a lot of sensitization to people so that we get to know what are these things, so we can actually know when some of these things are right and wrong.
The electoral officers will come around, they're being accompanied by security officials, then they will have to wait for the people. But in our case, the people get to the polling unit before the INEC official.
Lovely responses there. There are guidelines that clearly outline the steps for setting up a polling unit on election day. And the presiding officer, in other words, the INEC officials at the polling unit, will need to comply with these steps to make the process transparent, devoid of any suspicion or questions before, during, and after the polls. So what are these steps? The first step, the presiding officer and his team are expected to remove all campaign materials, if any, from the polling unit, because on election day, the attention will be on the voter, not the parties or their candidates. Step 2, the presiding officer and his team shall set up the voting cubicle in such a way that the voter can mark his or her ballot in a secure manner where their votes will not be exposed. And step 3, the presiding officer shall place the ballot box not more than 2 meters away from the voting cubicle in the direction of the presiding officer and away from polling agents so they don't interfere or see how voters are casting their ballots. And so by 8 a.m., the presiding officer of a polling unit is expected to introduce him or herself. Now, the polling officials will not only introduce themselves, but polling agents, and in other words, party agents and accredited observers must be present at the polling unit in the morning to cross-check if all the materials required for the election in that polling unit are present. The next step is that the presiding officer shall invite the party agents as well as the accredited observers in that polling unit to observe the election materials that will be used for elections in that polling unit. At this point, observers and party agents can take pictures as well as video recording of the process, provided it doesn't disrupt the timely opening of polls. After that, the presiding officer is required by the guidelines to record the quantity, serial number, and other particulars of the sensitive materials and record them in the forms provided by INEC to that polling unit. And sensitive materials in this case are beavers, ballot papers, and result sheets. So between 8 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on election day, the presiding officer will open and display the empty ballot box and the beavers to everyone who is present at the polling unit. It will be closed and then it will be sealed in a manner prescribed by INEC. Usually they use seals, and those seals have numbers. So party agents are required to take numbers of those seals before they are used to seal the ballot boxes. So these are the steps for the setup of polling units on election day. That's Elections 101 in 5. Now you know the steps required for setting up a polling unit on election day. This is one information you require to ensure that you make your votes count on election day. You can watch previous episodes of Election 101 in 5 on our YouTube channel, Yaga Africa TV. You can also contact us using the social media handles displayed on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Samson Itodo. Remember, your vote can make a difference. Please vote wisely.